Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for Sunday, the 27th of October. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at ES. We saw a bit more weakness on the during the day on Friday. Was it enough to make the daily sell signal target? It was not, and I'm still wondering if we might see more. At the moment, we've got a double top that broke down here. We've still got an open target from that, but I am leaning towards this actually being a bull flag forming instead. We will see how it goes. NQ, I was talking about the bull flag forming on that, and that broke up and made the target. Now, that actually makes the topping setup here, well, it gives us a topping setup here. We've got a potential level top here, and if we see a sustained break below the 20,000 and 90 area, then that would have a target down here at about the 19,500 area. No current negative divergence on RTY. RTY barely made it off the low, hasn't retested the low yet. This wasn't quite as weak as down was actually, but I'm wondering about a move down into the possible double top support there in the 2180 area. So we've actually got a decent largish topping setup potentially on NQ and on RTY. So we will see how that develops. On the hourly chart on Dow, we had a 60-minute buy signal. That had a decent rally, broke up from a little lower bottom here, which then failed and then made a lower low. So this was the weakest at the end of last week. If we didn't already have a sell signal brewing on a retest of this little low here, we would have another one. If we didn't already have one fixed, we'd have another one brewing. But there is obviously scope for this to go down. I'm watching the potential head and shoulder neckline just above the monthly pivot at 42,023. So I've got that just under, well, we're at 42,000. All right, just having a look at ES again. Do we have a possible head and shoulder neckline there? We do. And if we were to go down what would be a considerable distance from here, and we may of course not do that, I've got that in about the 57.10 area. So if we get down to there, then that would be a possible head and shoulder neckline as well. All right, looking at the DAX chart, DAX, possible large double top here too. I'm not really expecting to see a large retracement here, but I'm just saying that there are potential patterns. And nothing really on the STX. This has just been drifting sideways fairly aimlessly, and it looks like an overall bull flag forming. So we shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. On ES, RSI 5 sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. On SPX, I put in SPX as well as SPY this week, and as likely to remain the case for a while. We've got a weak RSI 5 sell signal fixed here on SPX and on SPY, and that hasn't made the full target yet, and it's probably not going to unless we see a test break below the daily middle band, which has been held these last 2 days. Wasn't quite tested on Friday, but obviously it is acting as support. To go any lower, we're going to need to break below it. And if we were to break below it, then I've got the rising support here, just below the current low here. It's currently at about the 57.45 to 50 area. So we could see that. That could be a bull flag forming if we see that, of course. But that could also get us into this rising support trend line, which of course could hold. Looking at the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. I've drawn in a potential flag here, which basically we could hit. If we hit it on Monday morning at about the 57.55 area, we could hit both that trend line there and obviously the potential bull flag trend line. I've just drawn in an ideal trend line. Obviously, there are other options for a bull flag, but this would be the best one. I would be watching that. All right, on SPY, pretty much exactly the same. Daily middle band holding, hasn't made the RSI 5 sell signal target. Looking at the hourly chart, no current divergence, and looking at the 15-minute chart, I've got a different possible flag support there. It's not quite the same as the one on the SPX chart. All right, looking at NDX. NDX, we've got on the daily chart, no current divergence. We've obviously been testing fairly thoroughly the daily middle band. And again, if we see a breaking conversion of that, then this would potentially open lower targets. On the hourly chart, We've got a potential double top here. I put in the arrows, though it hasn't broken down yet, and I would have a target on a sustained break below 485 in the 470 area. On the 15-minute chart, no current divergence, so we will see how it goes from here. But this is a nice looking potential double top pattern. I think we might need some bad news to give this a go. So but we do have some potential bad news brewing. We had an attack, the awaited attack from Israel and Iran at the weekend. If that flares up into something bigger, maybe we'll get some bad news, which could set this going to the downside. On the diet chart, obviously we made the sell signal, and we're now at the stage where, with a rally and a retest of the low, we could start setting up a positive divergence for a possible RSI 5 buy signal. We're below the daily middle band now. And we've been below it for a couple of days. We've got a possible RSI 14 buy signal brewing on the hourly chart, and on the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. But you can see we're pretty close to the rising support, which I've got currently in about the 419.5 area. All right, let's have a look at the other indices on IWM. On the daily chart, we've still got a weak RSI 14 sell signal, which hasn't made target. I'm not sure how seriously I'm taking this, but it could deliver potentially. We do have a potential large double top, very large double top here, but we haven't quite retested this high at 227.85. And in any case, we've got a fairly strong target back up and retest this high at 234.66, which is, of course, the 2021 high, which hasn't been retested yet. I'm still liking the upside here, but I'm weighing the odds of the downside. We closed at 218.89, so we closed below the daily middle band again, and we've spent about the last 3 days below it. So Dow and IWM are looking significantly more bearish than the other two, but we could, with some more significant more downside here, actually switch this into more of a bear bias. In terms of the daily chart, you can see the last 3 days below it, and fairly convincingly below it. We've got the hourly chart where we have no positive divergence, and the 15-minute where we haven't got any positive divergence either. Nice looking double top potentially. We could see that play out. I don't have anything smaller, but I've got support for that double top in the 214.6 area. Looking at DAX, no current divergence. Obviously retested this high. We've got a decent looking potential little double top, and we're holding the daily middle band again. Nikkei is below the daily middle band, and actually below the daily lower band, I think. Where did that close? Yeah, closed a little above the daily lower band, but obviously this has been more bearish. If we see a break up soon, then I'd be looking for really a retest of this high here at 42.4 into Christmas. No current obvious topping pattern here. So although if we saw a bit of a right shoulder here, we could be forming a head and shoulders. All right, great. Let's have a look at the energies. Okay, CL. CL is breaking up a little here, and we have got... we're slightly above the new weekly pivot. We will see how far that goes. I mean, obviously this is very, very vulnerable to news, Israel, Iran, and potential expansion of the conflict there. But in the absence of that, I've still got a triangle target back down and a retest to the low at 63.5. I've got a lot more to say about this about NG on the daily charts, but on the hourly charts here, we had a little inverted head and shoulders, decent quality, and it's almost made the target at 3.125. But the fact that we've had this rally here has had a big impact on the daily chart, only because really of the roll into November and December, but that has had a big impact, and I'll talk about that. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Right, looking at CL. CL, we've got on the daily chart, no current divergence. We are playing around with the daily middle band, effectively closed on it on Friday, but if we break and convert that, potentially there is more upside to be had. On the daily chart, as I said, we've been below the daily middle band for a while. Break above that, and we could do some damage to the upside. I do still have this triangle target down at 63.57. I am still thinking that's probably going to make target, but obviously there's a lot of news happening in the Middle East at the moment, and it is subject to that. Okay, NG, no current divergence, but we had a very sharp rally here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very decent rally, and it's basically taking it off half a buck. Now the problem is that the roll, and actually, hang on, I'll dig up the charts for that for you. All right, this is, and I'm going to be doing a post about this today, definitely today. But basically, this is NG contracts basically going through into early 26, and what this shows you is the seasonal changes here. Now sometimes you'd be here, you might be thinking, oh well, I can, the price goes up in the winter, therefore I can go long for that, but actually that's not the case. The price troughs in about April/May, and after that you've got here between here and the peak in January 26, you've got a rise of basically 1.3 bucks, and that is all incorporated into the rolls here. And if you look at the November 25 roll, that's actually an extra 30. Here it was actually about 50 cents. So the index price, which is based on the current future, the front month future, has just switched into November, and what that has given us is a breakup over the triangle resistance I've been watching, which is a shame because this was delivering beautifully. But to actually, over this period here, to actually stay at the same price, it needs to drop about $1.20 intra-month. And what it's done here is not do that. So what we've done is we made a higher high here. That doesn't mean we've made a real high, but this does mean that we've just switched into November. And that has broken the triangle, and that is a legitimate break of the triangle. I put in a couple more options for resistance trend lines here if we are forming a flag. And I would note that we've got a very big inverted head and shoulder neckline here in the 3.64 area. Now that could potentially be a double bottom, but I'm leaning towards, it looks more like an inverted head and shoulders, so I'm treating it as that until we see a sustained break over 3.64. If we see that, then at that stage I would be treating this as double bottom breaking up. All right, great. Let's have a look at metals. So bear with me a second. All right, GC. GC is coming back up into a retest of the high. There was a possible head and shoulders here, and it's not delivering. So it's not broken down, it's not finished forming, and we're heading back up into a high retest. Looking at SI, we had a head and shoulders here. That's broken down, and at the moment it's looking as though it's going to fail back into a retest of this high here in about 35.1 area. We will see how it goes. On HG, I've been wondering about a possible full retest of this low to set up a double bottom. I'm still wondering about that. We could alternatively be forming a flag or just a poor quality double bottom, which could break up on a move over 4.46. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Right, GC, no current divergence, but on a retest of this high here at 277.260, we could get both possible daily RSI 14 and RSI 5 sell signals brewing. Looking at the index, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing there already. And actually, yeah, we've got one here already as well on the RSI 14. I should have marked that in, and I haven't. It's so I've been having a close look at this. I do have a very obvious trend line for this to head to if we break higher than this, and that is in about, if you look at this as 27, basically 26.75 to 27.75, it's about the same distance above. So I've got this in about the 28.75 to 28.90 area, and I've got a nice looking possible trend line resistance here. But I've taken it from a year ago rather than 2 years ago. From 2 years ago, I don't have as good trend lines here. But I think from a year ago, not bad at all. So I'm mainly going to be watching this pattern here. In the short term, we've got possible resistance up here in about the 27.90 area. We will see how it goes. All right, looking at silver. Silver, no current divergence, but on a retest of this high here at 35.07, we would get possible RSI 5 and RSI 14 sell signals brewing. Same on the index, and we will see how it goes. Do we have some resistance trend line above? Yes, we have a really obvious one, but this one actually starts in 2008. So it's a bit extended, but it's nice. Hit here in 2008, hit here in 2014, hit here in 2020. Where do we have resistance? It's up here in about the 37.75 to 38 area. depending on when it is hit. We've broken over this trend line here, which was looking very nice for a long time. That is the next obvious target, and I'm thinking we may be making that in the next few weeks. And obviously, we may well find resistance there. We will see. Looking at palladium, palladium has gone significantly higher. Very nice. I was a little concerned this might be fading back towards low. It's not done that. We'll see how it goes from here. On platinum, we've got decent move up, not as strong, but we've now got up high enough that I'm wondering about this double bottom target again, which is in the 1073 to 1081 area, and that is a legitimate target, and I'm thinking we may well be making that over the next few weeks as well. HG, we've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed. We've got what may well be bottoming action here, and if we see that turn into a double bottom, and then we see a break up over 4.45, we then have a movement about the 4.7 area, which would get us into striking distance of this high here at 4.79. Looking at the index, pretty similar, except that we don't have the buy signal. I'm liking the upside here, and I would note that we're having a very nice support here at the 50 DMA at the moment at 4.33. We've also got support down below it at the 200 DMA at 4.26. So we've got a lot of support here, and I'm leaning towards that holding. Right, GDX, the sell signal here, it had been thinking about failing for a while. It failed last week. And we have hit another potential trend line here, so I am wondering about a test of this rising support here, currently at about 38.2 area. On the hourly chart, we had RSI 14 sell signal at the high. That's pretty much played out now. Do we have a nice trend line here? No, on GDXJ. So nothing really nice enough to mark in. No current divergence here on the daily chart. Again, we had an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. This one hasn't reached the possible near miss target yet, and usually it would. So I'm leaning towards seeing at least a little more downside. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at ZB. All right, ZB, we are kicking around near the lows here, just under 118. We'll see how that goes, but I'm leaning towards seeing retest this low here next, and then probably lower. But we will see. But I've got more to say about this on TNX. On DX, we are almost at the trendline resistance that I was talking about when we were, well, down here. And I'm thinking we may well find resistance there when we get there, and we're setting up quite a lot of negative divergence on the bigger picture charts. I'll show you that in a minute. But in the meantime, I'm leaning towards seeing a little higher. So it looks like we're coming back into a retest of this high here at 104.45, and I'm thinking we'll lean a little higher, and I'll show you where I think that will go. All right, let's have a look at where have I stashed it? Okay, here we go. All right, on the US dollar, we've now got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and on a retest of this high, we would have an RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Where is the target I was talking about? It's here. This is after we set up this trend line here. I remarked that it was a very good trend line, and these normally come in pairs. And if it was to head up to the resistance that would match it, we would be heading up to this trend line here. Obviously, that was a bit higher then. It's now in about the 104.65 area. And I'm thinking we may well hit that early next week, and we may well find resistance there. Do we have a case for the dollar reversing here? Yeah, we do. That's EUR/USD. Buy signal RSI 14, buy signal RSI 5. GBP USD, possible RSI 5, buy signal brewing on the daily. USD JPY has got a fair amount further to go, but frankly, it could do that without any cooperation from the dollar. USD CAD, this has had a nice move up, but we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. Australian dollar, we've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing, although we haven't quite made target. No, we've actually made the possible near miss target on the weak RSI 14 sell signal. On NZ, we've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. So we've got a lot of divergence suggesting that the dollar may be about to turn. I've got a very clear target, which is not far above. We will see how that goes. All right, looking at TNX. TNX, we've got, hang on, sorry. TNX, we've got no current divergence on the hourly chart. I've got a nice looking little rising wedge though, suggesting that we might see a reversal soon. We'll see. I've also got a double bottom target, which would be in the 43.75 to the 44.5 area. But it's a nice enough rising wedge that I've drawn it in and I'm watching it carefully. Looking at the daily chart, no divergence on the RSI 14, but we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing, and that would be bullish for ZB. So I am wondering about reversal here, and I'm wondering if this might reverse with the dollar. We will see. Nothing really on the weekly chart. This buy signal here has made target and change. No sell signal brewing here at the moment. All right, great. Let's have a look at the other commodities. All right, let's have a look at KC. Now, KC, we've had a move down below the weekly pivot, and on the daily chart we have broken the rising support that had been holding here, but has now broken. Could this still be a bear flag, bull flag? No, it's too large. But it could still be another pattern, but at the moment I don't have a decent support trend line, so I've not drawn one in. Let's have a look at sugar. Sugar, we've got what looks like an overall bull flag forming and a potential double bottom, which could get this back to the high. No sign of that breaking up at the moment, though. CC, I've just rolled this from January into March. We've got a nice looking falling wedge here. It's too large to be a flag, but it is definitely a decent falling wedge. We've broken below it. We've broken up. This could just be a short rally, but I am watching this, thinking that we may well see some more upside. No current divergence on the hourly chart. On CT, we had a double bottom break up, and it looks like it's failing back into the low. That would be in about the 70.2 area. Possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing. ZW, this is heading below the weekly pivot at the moment. I'd quite like to see this go up, but obviously it's been weak for a while. And this bull flag is, I've been making an statement to say it's not of the highest quality. On corn, we've been seeing a bit of a retracement here. We obviously more than made the double bottom target. More to say about these on the daily charts. And on soy, we've got a potential inverted head and shoulders forming here. Not the best, but actually it wouldn't be bad quality if we went up directly from here. You can see that the lows were on the right shoulders, would be in the right sort of area. I'm taking it seriously, but I'm thinking this may just fail back into the low instead. All right, looking at lumber. This has rolled. Oh, just to mention, soy. This has rolled into. Soy has just rolled from November into January, and lumber has also just rolled from November into January. So those are the other rolls this week. It's all on the new pivots weekly, and the current monthly ones are all on the ones that I've just uploaded at the main Substack. Okay, on lumber, looks like a nice looking bull flag forming, hasn't broken up yet. On live cattle, this is breaking up over this resistance here, and I'm not seeing anything compelling saying it's going to break. We do have a possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing though. Lean hogs, we had a nice looking double top set up there, and that has already broken up. This has been leading live cattle lately, and may well just continue to the upside. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, cheers.